Hi there, I am Brandy Lloyd, and you are listening to the Restore Path podcast, a place for women over 40 who want to feel good, look good, and do good in the world and not be burdened with chronic pain and fatigue. Today, I'm answering the question, Brandy, what is your secret weapon? How do you stay so disciplined? Well, I gotta say, I have a question, actually. Have you heard of Helmuth von Moltke, the Elder? I bet not. But if you served in the military or on a SWAT team like my husband did, I bet you have, though. Helmuth was a Prussian military commander back in the day, and he once said, "No plan survives first contact with the enemy." Let me say that again. No plan survives first contact with the enemy. In other words, our initial plans often fail. Does that mean we no longer fight? No way, Jose. We just need a better plan, a tweaked plan. What I did in my early days has been polished and changed and tweaked to put me in the place that I'm in right now. And that's what I want for you. That, my friend, is a big part of my secret weapon. But how does this all relate to wellness and reducing or ending chronic pain and fatigue? Just because you make a plan and fail the first time out or even repeatedly, it doesn't mean that you can't beat this enemy, my friend. We all have one. We just need to find the right plan for you and what your battle is. Who's your enemy? What's your enemy? So let's talk a little bit about battle plans. They come in all different shapes and sizes. The battle itself is different from person to person. Personally, my battle was horrible fatigue. I'm talking crawling around the house and worsening body pain. And what I thought was just, getting through perimenopause. And I was trying to figure out why I was getting these terrible stomach aches and headaches every day. My hair was falling out. It was just all this stuff was going on. So after going to my doctor, who couldn't find anything technically wrong with me, at least not on the labs, I turned to diet and lifestyle. And to be perfectly honest with you, at the risk of not sounding very humble right now, I looked great. I looked, if I just looked or felt like I looked, we wouldn't even be talking right now. But I felt terrible. And I just wasn't finding answers anywhere. And that's why I needed to turn, and I have a more natural response and just a desire to do things naturally and holistically. So it was natural for me to turn to diet and lifestyle. And just like you, I had an inkling that there was a connection. I just really didn't know where to start. I didn't have a great battle plan. I didn't even really know. I knew what I wanted. I just didn't know how to get there. So I started with gluten at the behest of my doctor. And to be honest, he wanted to pull me or put me on a full elimination diet. I'm talking about, dairy and soy and gluten and all of these other things. And it was frankly overwhelming because he was really, really just asking me to do it by myself. And I actually help people these days do this. And I'm telling you, I know what it looks like when you're staring down the barrel of that gun. It's just like, well, what the heck do I even eat? And I wasn't ready for it. And I didn't have a support system, which is actually what I'm the support system for people now because I have fought that war. I've waged that war and I've come out on the other side. So my battle plan began with removing gluten. That was the initial plan and it worked for a minute. Removing gluten from my diet was incredibly powerful, but it didn't remedy everything. I always like to say it stopped the bleeding, so to speak, but I was still in ICU. But I had a win. I had some momentum. My stomach aches and headaches were almost completely gone. I mean, it was incredible. To be honest with you, I love that gluten had such a powerful adverse reaction in my body because once I removed it, it opened my eyes to the power and influence that diet has on how we feel, not just on how we look. For so many women, myself included, the connection is obvious when it comes to the scale, right? Or the view in the dressing mirror in the morning or in the store, especially bikini season and everything else. I mean, even when we look at our skin on our face in the mirror, When we see our, acne on our skin, or our clothes aren't fitting right, the weight is going on, or we're buying bigger clothes, we immediately begin adjusting food. Now, we may not be adjusting the right things in the right ways, but we have that innate womanly wisdom that it's something about stuff that's coming in. However, it's not so obvious when it comes to how we feel, even though food often makes us feel better, right? That's where the term comfort food comes from. Our morning coffee wakes us up. It changes how we feel. A handful of nuts in the mid-morning might pep you up, changes how you feel. And this kind of goes on and on throughout the day. We can't wait to go to lunch. We think about where we're going or what we brought, and it kind of brings a smile to my face. And, ooh, I can't wait to eat that because I got leftovers or whatever for dinner, right? Or where we're going. Food makes us feel good. We celebrate with food. We cheat and treat with food. We even heal with food. Most of us grew up with chicken soup when we were sick, right? In our family, we not only had like chicken soup, but also like saltine crackers and oddly like 7-Up, out of those three things, only one was actually good for us. And not if it came out of a can, with noodles, but that broth, that chicken broth, that's been around for thousands of years. So we know that there's a connection with food and how we feel. But why is it so hard to make that connection when we feel super bad, like with the chronic pain and fatigue and bloating and gas and headaches and our hair's falling out, or maybe we have eczema or whatever, right? Are you like me? Is feeling bad really your health and wellness enemy that's standing right in front of you? I mean, it really was for me. I needed to deal with that. I was only 38 when things came to this big apex. And, don't get me wrong, I want to look good just like everyone else, but I really needed to feel good. We had 2 high schoolers at the time, and our youngest son was, I think he was about 6th grade at about that time. And there was just a lot of life that I felt like I was going to miss out on, or that I wasn't as present because I just really didn't feel great. And to be honest with you, I always felt like I had some sort of facade going on because of running a gym, owning a gym. And like I said, I looked really great, not perfect. I'm not saying supermodel or anything like that, but I was very lean, very fit, but my insides didn't match my outsides. And basically that's why I, wanted to bring this into, podcasting and staying on track and being consistent and feeling good and secret weapons and whatever, because it's a mindset issue. If you haven't listened to it already, I want you to go and listen to the podcast entitled, "What is the one thing that can help me stay on track above anything else?" Because it's really nice to have listened to that podcast with this one. The two together are very powerful for you. You can find it on my website, thepathforhealth.com. You can find it under the Restore Path, Brandy Lloyd. That's Brandy with an I and Lloyd with one L, on your favorite podcast player. I mean, you're listening to a podcast right now. You found me somewhere, whether it was on my website or on Google or Apple or Spotify or whatever it is. But I please go and listen to that, because these weapons, these things work together. Mindset is a big deal. And that's kind of what I was talking about in the one thing to help me stay on track above anything else. This battle plan is the next thing. You need to have a plan. You need to have a way that you're thinking about your wellness, but you also need to have a plan. I didn't have a plan. I had an idea from a doctor that was like, whoa, super big, but I needed to be able to take small steps. So to go back a little bit, we knew that my enemy was feeling bad. And when I say I was in lots of pain, I was in lots of pain, lots of fatigue. I would slur my words. My gut was just screwed up, just with bloating and stomach aches that would double me over. I'd lay on the couch and think, oh my God, what is going on? I literally was like, do I have a parasite? What do I have going on in there? And because of my age, I was starting to experience hormone issues, like not being able to sleep very well and my hair coming out. And then you go to the doctor and they're like, yeah, you know what, you're 38. That's just kind of what happens. And that's it. And I didn't want to be put on hormones and all of these other things, because everything comes with some sort of side effect. But I tell you what I did know. I knew I didn't like where I was, and I knew why I wanted to feel better. And that helped me defeat and manage and deal with this enemy of chronic pain and fatigue right in front of me. But, I got to ask, do I know how to win? What is my secret weapon? What is my battle plan? What do I need to do now? I know this. So if I asked, what do I need to do to win? Many people would say, well, you need a good plan. Okay, we can agree with that. And you need to be disciplined. You need to stay the course. And I would say that is mostly the right answer. You do need a good plan. And you do need to stay the course. But it's not so much about discipline. Everything here is standing on the why, which is what I talked about in that other podcast, so I won't cover it today. But remembering the advice from Helmuth, no plan survives the first contact with the enemy. Yeah, sister, you need a plan. Take a look at where you are right now. Really, honestly, are you a processed food eater? Are you a clean food eater? Are you 80-20? What are you? This is what I want you to implement right here. This is a great starting plan coming from not only somebody who has walked this out and lived this, but from an honest to goodness, holistic nutrition coach, a functional nutritional therapy practitioner. I want you to start eating clean, whole foods. Doesn't matter the name of the diet, right? There's so many out there. This is a great plan. And to be honest with you, this is where all of those start, is with clean, whole, unprocessed, or minimally processed foods. I recommend making a short-term goal of 6 weeks. Why? Because it takes a bit to figure out how to make this new plan work in a way to defeat your enemy. Your initial plan of just eating clean foods and eating whole foods is going to fail. You're going to come up with a life, right? And so that's what Helmuth was talking about, right? It's not just that first plan that's going to defeat the enemy, right? You need to have one, but then you go, okay, wait, I want to do clean eating, but I get screwed up every time we go out, or, when we do a barbecue, or when I'm not prepared at home. So I actually tried that for 3 days and then went to a friend's house and I got all screwed up. So does that mean that I suck at dieting? No. We just need to sharpen up your plan. So here's how you sharpen it up. Number 1, commit to eating clean, whole foods. Number 2, commit to doing this for at least 6 weeks and realize that you're going to troubleshoot along the way. Number 3, I want you to have a food list. Come up with some meal ideas, go shopping, set aside time for prepping the food that works around your life and getting things pre-cooked if need be. That's the easiest plan for my newbies. That's it. That's easy. We need to work with your strengths and give you support for your weaknesses if this is going to work. This is why I suggest tackling maybe just one meal at a time if you don't have a support system. A great support system is my Facebook group for women over 40 who are restoring their health and their faith at the same time. You can find it on Facebook. You can also go directly there from my website, right? That's a great support system. Everybody in that group is doing this right now at different stages. So we can kind of help everybody along the way and troubleshoot. Hi, did you know that the pathforhealth.com has a favorites tab? So often my clients ask me about products that I recommend to them that I went ahead and put some of the products on my favorites tab, whether it's collagen or shakes or vitamins or just like little foods that I found on Amazon or whatever, just things that make clean living and healthy living easier. So if you're interested in checking out some of the products that are tried and tested and true and things that I stand behind, are they absolutely perfect? No. But as I jokingly say, they are Brandy approved. And you can find all of those products on the pathforhealth.com on the favorites tab. Thanks. Here's the rest of your podcast. I'll tell you a little golden nugget right now. I always suggest tackling just one meal at a time if this is all new to you, or if you have a tendency to bite off more than you can chew. No pun intended. So in my own experience with working with many, many clients, both live and in person and small groups and one-on-one and whatever, is that regardless of how excited you are and dedicated you feel right now, too many broad sweeping changes just increase your odds of being overwhelmed and quitting altogether. Sometimes the plan is absolutely fantastic and great, but it doesn't matter how great that battle plan is if the execution of it or the implementation of it fails. So we need to assess your execution or your ability to implement that plan. This is called refining or fine-tuning or troubleshooting. If you're struggling, we need to know where you are struggling. This is how I troubleshoot or problem solve with my clients. This is coaching, girl. Many of my clients focus on breakfast and drinking water. Boom, straight out the gate. Breakfast and drinking water. I give them some suggestions and recommendations based on what they're willing to do, what they can do, what they're willing to do. Some people are like, I hate eggs, or I don't like breakfast, or whatever it is. We have to work within the person. So take your whole life into consideration and who you are and what you really know you can stick with, because we need that consistency. So 99.9% of the time, the women I work with will settle for a couple scrambled eggs or, avocado or a protein shake that I recommend for them and drinking water. And we do that for a few days and we give them some wins. They don't have the discipline or the experience to take on the whole day, let alone wrap their brain around 6 whole weeks of 3 meals a day and snacks and all this other stuff. Okay? So the key to being disciplined, and discipline is just somebody that can really just kind of stay the course. The key to discipline is all about focus. I help my clients focus on what really matters the most in the moment. Because I tell you what, when you're sitting at one of my courses, you're like, I'm all in. Or if you're listening to a testimonial or success story that I have or whatever it is, you're like, I'm all in. This is great. That recipe sounds great. But I tell you what, it's about how you live every other day. It's about getting up in the morning and your ability to implement what you've been learning. It's your ability to focus. I love the word focus. Probably my favorite acronym for focus is follow one course until success. Follow one course until success. It's not about jumping from one thing or another or one diet to another. Clean eating is a course of action. So follow it. It's a plan. Everybody agrees. It doesn't matter if you're keto or paleo or vegan or whatever, vegan or, primal or whatever it is. We all agree that eating a clean diet, not a processed foods diet, is a great starting point. It is the one starting point. There's a lot of little details depending on who you are and what you're dealing with after that. But clean eating is a great plan. If clean eating every single meal doesn't work for you straight out of the gate, think smaller. Small wins are still wins. But let me tell you, most wars are won in an accumulation of little small wins along the way. It's not just one big nuclear blast. Don't get me wrong. I have actually had clients that had the type of personality and the type of why or the reason for making broad sweeping changes was definitely in 911. And they were able to make like a nuclear kind of transformation and keep it going. But really, that is the rarity. That is the unicorn, right? It's mostly about small wins and learning a little bit of time and getting used to certain changes and wrapping your mind and your heart and your soul around it, owning it, enjoying it. That's what's going to give you that secret weapon, that staying power. Winning the battle with proper hydration in the morning and fueling your body with your first meal, whether it's at 6 a.m. or noon, whenever your first meal is, that's going to provide your body with lasting energy and reduce sugar cravings. That changes your whole mindset. That changes how you feel. Women, we're all about the feels. We got to be in it in our heart, not just our head. And tackling the morning time with this kind of a battle plan is a game changer. It's a great example of how small battles gain a whole heck of a lot of momentum that lead to bigger wins down the road. So the key to discipline and being a disciplined person that can stay the course is focus for sure. But the ability to focus and narrow in is knowing your why. And I talk about that in that other podcast episode. Why do you want to defeat this enemy? Hey man, I knew why I didn't want to be so tired. I knew why I didn't want my stomach to hurt all the time. I felt dangerous. I really did. I felt dangerous driving around sometimes. My fatigue is not like tired. It's not like you stayed up all night and you woke up the next day and you're just feeling kind of tired. Fatigue is different. It was practically debilitating for me on certain days. My why was really important to me as a mother, as a wife, as a business owner, just as a person who had things I just wanted to do. My friend, it's your why that keeps you motivated when things get challenging. Keep your why right in front of your face all the time. Challenging is having friends over for dinner or going out to dinner or going on vacation. Those are challenges. It's a whole lot easier if I were to just throw you on. Remember when we used to have like fat farms, or something like that, to where it was somebody else doing the cooking and you couldn't leave and this was all there was, not a lot of challenges. You just had desire, like, oh, I wish I could have this. One of my clients, she's going to be 78 here in a couple months. She realizes the potato chips get her in a big trouble. She can't have them around. She says, they're not in my house. I do not eat them. Right? She just found a little, I can enjoy them occasionally, but she just knows that she won't be challenged. She won't struggle. She won't be tempted if she keeps them out of her house. That is a small win that really leads to massive success. And I know that a lot of us aren't living alone, and there's other people in the house that like buy things or expose us to things or tempt us to things that's really hard. And that's also what I talk about community and support and letting the people closest to you in on what your why is. And that why is emotional. And I do talk about it in that podcast. When they know what's on your heart, that this is just not another diet, they are more than likely going to help you out with that. So that's why I say keep your why right in front of your face all the time. And also keep it in front of the face of the people around you. So entrepreneurs, we like to reverse engineer processes. All successful people do. So this is the way I'm going to lay this out. The why supports your focus, which follows a plan that strengthens your discipline, which leads the way to consistency, which will eventually lead you to victory over that enemy. Right? That's going forward. Now let's reverse engineer that. Victory over your enemy stems from consistency, which is born out of discipline, which is strengthened by your focus, which is supported as a foundation and a launching point from your why. Have you ever heard the saying, winning tomorrow begins today? That's what a plan does. All of my clients and students have a plan in their hand after they meet with me, and that plan is based on their goals, which really stems and comes from their why and their abilities to really stay consistent. What are they willing to do? What are they able to do? However, just like Helmuth taught, no plan survives first contact with the enemy. We need to figure out what really works with your lifestyle. If the focus is drinking more water and starting with a healthy first meal, what will work for your lifestyle to help you be consistent? For me, using a straw and having my water jar around me all the time is going to ensure that I drink enough water. Even as I sit here and do this podcast, my jar, it's in my hand right now, is right in front of me. I like the asparagus size mason jars. I like a metal straw. just took a drink right there because I want my filtered water. I want it to taste good. I want it to be non-toxic. So I've got a stainless steel straw in there. If I'm set up like that and I drag that jar with me wherever I go, I am guaranteed to drink enough water. What's going to work for you? Many women find a quality breakfast, even like a shake, is their secret to starting their day off on the right foot. Having a good food log and being consistent with that is definitely journaling makes a massive difference. And the truth is in that area that is if you're not writing it down, it is not going to change. If you're not logging it, if you're not logging everything that passes your lips, there's a 99.9% chance that we're not going to see change that lasts. Now, each and every week, I go over what is working and what isn't working with my students. This is a way of evaluating if we need to make some tweaks or any changes so that we have a chance for victory. We don't quit no matter what happened. You go to a concert, you ate nachos and beer and did all these things, cotton candy. We just tweak it. We stay focused. We stay positive, and we forgive ourselves for conscious choices that we make as grown-ups. And then we move on. We follow the plan and we keep going. Maybe talk about the next concert, how we can make that better. The best way to make these assessments is actually not just us having a conversation about it. Tell me what you ate Tuesday. Tell me what you ate Wednesday. How did you feel Tuesday? Did you poop on Wednesday? Did you how many hours did you sleep? Did you have any stomach issues? Did you all of that stuff? It's so much easier, my friend, if they just hand me their food log and journal that I provide them with. So sometimes regardless of, what's going on and how dedicated we are and how big our why is and how it's, in front of our face, we just lose a battle because a holiday or vacation comes around or we're sick or whatever. And you know what? This doesn't need to blow you out of the water. We just make sure that we talk about it, we get it in front of it, and we figure out just how to make it better next time. Now, in summary, I just want to encourage you to get a battle plan, my friend. And don't just quit because it initially doesn't work, because you have struggles or whatever got in the way. Just make adjustments and tweaks, fit it to your lifestyle and your experience, and press on. Keep driving towards that goal. You got to know where you are right now, and you got to know where you want to be or where you want to get to. Otherwise, it's just if you just have a goal and you don't know where your starting place is, you don't have a support team, you don't really have a plan, you're just like, I'm doing this diet and my girlfriend's doing that diet and my neighbor said this works and whatever. That's just not going to work. You really need to have a concrete plan, and it needs to be tailored for you. Now, I hope this lesson today, makes your own journey on the path for health and wellness that much easier. If you need some more support, and I know we all do, please come join our Facebook group. Do it. Come join our Facebook group. Reach out to me by email. Tell me what you're struggling with. Let me help you. For more amazing resources, I got a free ebook out there at thepathforhealth.com on clean eating. I've got a download, and I'm gotta look here. I don't think I've talked about it yet. No, coming up on later in April, I do have a podcast on the top 10 supplements for longevity. And so depending on when you listen to this, the supplements are going to really help with fatigue and energy. But get yourself the tools that you need to help yourself be successful and to help with that troubleshooting. And don't let your, initial confrontation with life just put you in a position of overwhelm, frustration, or the point where I guess this is just never going to work for me, because it can. I'm living proof of it. You can go to my website and you could see some of my students that are living proof of it. You can go to the Facebook group, Living Proof of It. One last thing is right now until April 15th, which is not very far away because today is April 6th when I'm recording this, the membership doors are open. So the membership doors are open. Go in, join us every single month where you get teaching, you get resources, you get support, you get behind the scenes. It's fabulous. The membership is all about implementation. Courses are about, let me show you how to do it, right? It's about, this is the information you need. Here's the plan. Now go do it. The membership is about actually doing it. It's about doing the work and staying the course. So it's a massive passion of mine. It's inexpensive. There's like no reason. If you have a phone in your hand, and you're listening to this podcast, chances are you have $25 a month, right? It's just, what are you spending it on? And how many other things are we blowing our money on that are not in alignment with our why, our deepest, darkest reasons? What makes us frustrated often to the point of tears? That our health and wellness, whether it's fear of the future and not being able to live this long, this way, whatever it is, there's no reason for that. No reason for that. This is what I do. This is why I do it. I do it because I'm managing lupus drug-free and inflammatory arthritis. And you know what? I feel amazing. Do I feel perfect? No, I don't feel perfect. Do I have rough days? Sure, they come up. Definitely they come up when I overdo it. And so I myself am learning new things about my body every day and what's too much and what I can do and what I should be doing. Because we all need to take an active stance in our health. And I know you are, because you're listening to this podcast. So thank you for listening to this podcast. Thank you for supporting this podcast. Thank you for subscribing to it, leaving a comment, leaving a review, sharing it with other women. I do this because I'm passionate about it, because I want to make a difference. So I hope that you enjoyed this today. I hope that it blessed you, and I will see you next time. I am Brandy Lloyd, and I thank you for listening to the Restore Path podcast.